What's up traders, it's Tarzan Trades, and in today's market analysis video, I'm going to talk to you guys about gold and dollar, both from a fundamental and a technical perspective. Now, to start things off quickly here on gold, from a fundamental perspective, the one thing that we have to understand is the reason gold is trading at these all-time highs is because gold investors or gold buyers right now, they're under the belief and the speculation that the central bank of the United States, the Federal Reserve, they're going to start cutting rates soon. So if we understand that piece of information, we know that cutting rates is going to be something that's negative for a currency. So that would be negative for a dollar. So if we take a look at the correlations here, like looking at gold and both dollar from a technical perspective here, we're talking about the same fundamentals, right? It's the Federal Reserve we're talking about. You can see that dollar again has been on this intraday more of a bearish run. Comparing to gold, gold has been doing just quite the opposite. You can see gold being a lot more bullish. Now, to talk about the events that we have this week, we do have Jerome Powell talking later in the week. But other than that, like you can see it over here, we have the FOMC minutes, which is just a repeat of FOMC. But later on in the week, I believe, yeah, right around here, we have the Jackson Hole Symposium. Think of this is something similar to FOMC, where you have Jerome Powell go out and talk about monetary policy. So he can come out this week and give the market some clues as to whether or not they're actually going to cut rates or not. But again, based off the technicals that we see, again, gold at these all-time highs, we know that the markets are heavily focusing on the fact that they should be cutting rates soon. So let's start talking about the technicals here now. From a technical perspective on gold, we can see that we did have a very strong bullish candle on Friday. We had a very strong bullish run on this Friday, and now it seems like we're finally starting to get some exhaustion on today is Monday. So we have the first day of the week. We now have that daily candle close, and again, we do see that we have some failures to continue any higher. Now, from a higher time frame perspective, for gold to continue bullish, we can see that just based off market structure, we basically have over here price making this new high, and now it's created this low for us to understand that this is the structure point that we're going to be able to use for us to continue following that higher time frame narrative. So if gold is going to be maintaining above the 2490s here, we should continue towards the upside there. So that's a zone that we'll take a look at when we start talking about the trade ideas in just a second here. On the 1 hour perspective, on the 1 hour time frame, we can see that gold, we have a few zones marked off. We have these highs marked off. We have these lows over here where you see multiple candle bodies rejecting that area. So you have some wicks over here, a lot of wicks being left around the 2500 kind of psychological area, some wicks over here as well. So again, for us to continue more with this bullish run, yes, overall higher time frame based off the analysis that we've just done. From an intraday perspective, from a higher time frame perspective, we should just look out for buys. But personally, I wouldn't just only marry those buys because of the fact that, let me show you guys something here from a technical perspective. Gold, whenever you do have these strong rallies towards the upside, gold will still have very large profit taking moves. So let's take a look at these examples here really quickly. We can see gold over here, when it made these all-time highs, it started to give us some patterns that it was going to start showing reversals over here. So again, rather than just only being married to the buys only and only wanting to look out for buys, you could take a look at the fact that price sometimes breaks structure, and then you can start to make these reversals come through. So if that's going to be the case, look, the same thing happened over here. Price making these highs, it starts having signs of reversals. You start making these structure points, and then you actually do end up getting those sells, right? So the idea would kind of be the same around here. We want to look out. Let me just delete this so we don't get confused or anything. Now that we do have some signs of price making some reversals, again, that's an idea that we want to look out for. But because we're higher time frame bullish, intradays are bullish, it's not something that we're going to just automatically aim for. We're not going to only look for sells because of the fact that price does do reversals when it makes these all-time highs. How would we look out for sells? For me to look out for sells, we'd have to be rejecting on this new daily time frame. If we continue to reject these areas, which we've shown some heavy rejections around, and price then starts to trade below 2500, that's the area where I'm gonna look out to sell at least down into 24.95, where we would look out for reactions. If we can retest that area and stay below 2500, then we can look out for more short-term sells at least down into this demand area, where we'll look at the reactions and see whether or not we should just look to continue adapting below those lows for further sells, maybe down into like these highs over here, or if we should just continue to look out for the higher time frame bulls and we'll look out for those buys. So now that we have that idea set up, again, we will be looking out for some potential pullbacks below the 2500s, but anything apart from that, like for us to look out for buys, other than the bounce plays from over here at this demand zone, which is something that we want to look out for, if price, again, kind of like how I was just explaining, say we just make a lower wick on this day, and then we start to see price maybe break below a little bit, but failing to actually close below that, and we show signs that price is just going to continue to stay above 2500, then I would look out for continued buys around here, and then obviously just continued buys if we do continue to see price breaking above those highs. Something that would help us with understanding whether we're going to see some pullbacks to set up for some buys later on in these next couple of days, or whether we're going to see price maybe just start to sell off. We will most likely be looking out for like the Jackson Hole Symposium, which is again Jerome Powell speaking later this week. But also, if we do see dollar continuing to turn more bearish, digging into these 101.5s or even lower into these 101's price points, then we know that that's going to help gold stay more on the bullish side. But again, because of the fact that we do have already gold making these all-time highs, we don't really have any economic data to look out for in these upcoming days. I wouldn't be surprised if dollar would have somewhat of a pause, and then gold as well starts to reject these highs and does start to do those pullbacks. So now that we have these price points over here, we understand where we should look out for trades, and we understand what it is that we're going to be looking out for once we reach these areas. And guys, I wanted to give you guys a quick reminder that if you take a look at the description below, you're going to see some links, and in one of those links is going to be a link to my private community. We do go live every single day, Monday through Friday. We cover all of the fundamentals. We go over the economic data. We cover the technicals as well, and then we also trade together. So if you want more information on that, make sure to click that link in the description. And other than that, I will see you guys on next week's analysis. Take care, everybody.